agenda. Bob Inglis is a former Republican congressman who is trying to convince his fellow conservatives about the dangers of climate change. He joins us now from South Carolina. Congressman Bob Inglis, thanks very much for joining us. When you've raised the alarm before about climate change and the science of climate change, it hasn't done you any political favors in the Republican Party. Do you think you can have more success now with your fellow conservatives?
Yes, it was bad timing on my part, perhaps in the midst of the global financial crisis. But the economy is better now. We've had more experiences with climate change. And there's a growing eco-right, we call it, a movement on the right to address climate change. And so those three things mean that it's safer now for a Republican to address climate change than it was in the darkest days of the global financial crisis.
OK, so I should tell our viewers you actually lost your seat in Congress because you were advocating for action on climate change. How do you account for President Trump and some fellow conservatives who deny the science of climate change? How do you account for their position? Is it purely about money? Is this all about the power of the energy industry and wanting to keep the US energy companies happy?
I think it's more about just playing to a base that wants to take one bead off of the strand of worry beads. You know, isn't that a nice thing to take one of the beads off? Don't have to worry about that one, climate change. But that's really passing as more people have experiences with climate change, as we have flooding as we're having today in Charleston, South Carolina, because of high tides, because of the full moon, but also because of sea level rise. And so when that happens and we have more experiences with climate change, then we start to realize, oh, it's as though Donald Trump is this guy, the bridge tender, who's telling us that there's nothing wrong, go ahead, but the bridge is out. And so I think we're going to find that out, and he's going to be treated as you would expect that bridge tender to be treated, giving no warning about what's coming our way by way of climate change.
Congressman, we're on the eve of another big climate summit in Poland, which is taking place next month. I don't know what kind of American representation is going to be there, but I think I speak for a lot of people on this side of the pond who wonder how America is going to shift its position when the president thinks there's no global warming if it's cold.
Yeah, and of course, that's it was just very unfortunate the president's equating weather with climate. It may be cold today, but that doesn't mean the climate is getting colder. And I think what's happening, though, is that more and more people are beginning to realize, and conservatives among them, that he's just playing to a certain element, and that isn't going to work for us going forward, because it's real, it's here and now. And that's what this very important fourth assessment asserts, is that it's not just at the end of the century, it's here and now, and the consequences are serious. OK, Bob Inglis joining us there. Thank you very much for joining us. And of course, there are now so many of these reports coming out saying that the science of climate change is urgent, as you say. This one coming from the Trump administration, even though the president seems to be at odds with what his own administration scientists are finding. This is Beyond 100 Days and still to come on the programme. The wait is nearly over. After a journey of more than 6 months, NASA's InSight lander will make an attempt to land on the surface of Mars in the next few minutes.